Hello, everyone. My name is Twisted Coaster Fan, and welcome to a unscripted video. So this isn't going to have any footage or anything like that. This isn't going to have me reading a script or anything like my previous one. And it has been a little bit since my last video, which I do apologize for that. I have been very busy with both work and school and just haven't had the time to really sit down and make a video. But I am working on my Six Flags St. Louis ranking video. That will be coming hopefully before my trip to California, which is going to be next week. But this is also finals week, so it is going to be a bit difficult to get that out. I'm going to try my best, but it's not looking likely. But I am working on that video, and hopefully I'll have a Magic Mountain ranking as well. But we're not here to talk about that. We are going to be talking about the state of Six Flags, specifically since the merger. Now, my channel was deleted when this merger happened, so obviously I haven't had my been able to talk about the merger in full depth like this to you guys. And when I first heard the rumors that Cedar Fair and Six Flags were going to be merging together in 2023, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a troll. I thought it was just a haha funny. I did not think it was actually going to happen, but sure enough, it did. Um, it was actually the Cedar Fair side, though, that bought out the Six Flags chain and not the other way around. So we have Cedar Fair management in charge of all the other parks, which at first I was a little skeptical on that, but after thinking about it and after having been to Six Flags St. Louis since the chains merged, I have to say I do like this merger, which I know that may be an unpopular opinion, and I will get into the bad that everyone's been talking about. But I gotta say, the park was really well run. All the rides were open, and the operations were perfect, and it felt like I was at a Cedar Fair park in a good way. So I was very impressed with my visit to Six Flags St. Louis. And hopefully, when I go to Magic Mountain, I'll feel the same way as well. Which I've heard that recently Magic Mountain's been a lot better since Cedar Fair took over. Which I did not have nice things to say about my Magic Mountain visit back in 2022. That was kind of a dumpster fire, but I mean, that was in the past. It's whatever. So there's definitely some good things about this merger. Um, but of course, there's also some bad things that are happening with this merger as well. And it's related to some very specific roller coasters, which I haven't had the time to talk about my thoughts on all that. But I will be going into each and every one of the ride closures that have been happening across the Six Flags chain. So, and just give my brief thoughts on them, whether I think it was a good decision to close these or not. So, yeah, if you've been living under a rock, Six Flags has been closing a lot of roller coasters as of late, with also an entire amusement park as well now, with Six Flags America biting the dust. We have gotten official confirmation that Six Flags America is dead. It will be closing forever in November 2nd. That is the last day you can go, which, as sad as it is to lose that park, you have to also realize that this isn't one of the original Six Flags parks. This isn't a park that's necessary to have. It has been struggling for a while now, and even as of 2023, I thought that it was probably on its way out, and the writing had been on a wall for a while, so I just really don't see the need to keep it. I mean, is it sad that we're losing it? Yeah, and I would have rather seen it get sold off to someplace else, but that is valuable, valuable land that could be used for something else. So I hate to say it, but if they think that closing it is the best investment, then yeah, I think it definitely makes sense. Now, if they come for Six Flags St. Louis, though, then I'm going to war because I love that park so much and I don't want to see it go. But in terms of Six Flags America, I just don't see any justification for keeping it. And I totally understand why Six Flags is pulling the plug. And I like the fact that they're giving people the chance to say goodbye to it. and that you have plenty of time to go out there this year and say your goodbyes. Unfortunately, all my trips are booked out this year, so it's not in my budget to visit again the park, but that's okay. It just wasn't meant to be. And there's plenty of other parks out there that I can visit. So that's my thoughts on Six Flags America. Whether some of the rides are going to get relocated is yet to be seen. Superman might be saved, but at the same time, it's super huge. Raging Cajun's probably being saved. Great Chase is probably being saved. Firebird's done. That thing's like 30 years old. I mean, if they didn't see the value in relocating Green Lantern, I don't see the value in them relocating Firebird. Joker's Jinx, as much as I'd like to see that go to Worlds of Fun, I think that's probably a goner. The SLC probably isn't getting relocated. I mean, it could. They did do some TLC on it, but at the same time, it's over 30 years old, and I just don't see any Six Flags Park wanting that. So it's probably going to go, and they're going to give its trains to something else, which, if you know me, you know I'm not a fan of Vekoma SLCs, so I don't care. I think Wild One has a chance if someone wants to buy it. Um, I mean, it's been done before, but it's a bit tricky to say for sure, which is unfortunate because it is a Ace Coaster landmark, and I think that's the biggest regret of Six Flags America losing Wild One. That would be very unfortunate if it left. Roar's done. Nothing more needs to be said. Unfortunately, I just don't see most of the coasters surviving that park. A lot of the flat rides I think will probably be saved, like Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman. I'd be very surprised if those just got bulldozed and that was it. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, it does make sense to close Six Flags America. That's my thoughts on the whole thing. Now I want to get into the ride closures that have been happening for the past several months, since I didn't get to give my full thoughts on that. So here's what I think about each of the ride closures. So first, Lava Bora at Over Texas. This was the first one to bite the dust. This one, I'm not surprised whatsoever. Lava Bora, I mean, it's the last of its kind. It's over 40 years old. It used to run at Magic Mountain, got relocated. It was nearing the end of its service life, and closing it makes sense. I would have liked for it to have gotten a proper send off, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. It probably there's definitely coasters that deserve the proper send off more than that, which oh boy, we'll get to that can of worms in a minute. Oh boy. So that one I don't think too many people are shocked by. Nighthawk at Carowinds. This one I'm also not shocked by. Nighthawk is, from my understanding, the ride's been only on one train for the longest time, and it's pretty much have been just like the writing was on the wall. Like, it's been on one train. It's the second last of its kind, which now the last of its kind is at, ironically, at Six Flags America Batwing that I just talked about. So the model's gonna go extinct pretty soon. And yeah, Nighthawk, it was never open. I don't think too many people are upset about that one. Um, was it a good ride? I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some bad things about it. I've never ridden one of the Flying Dutchmen, so I wouldn't know personally, but regardless of what you think, it's still removing it for a better ride does make sense. Um, Time Warp at Canada's Wonderland. This honestly, I'm surprised that coaster even lasted as long as it did. That thing looks terrible, and I am so glad Cedar Fair finally realized after 20 years this ride sucks. Let's get rid of it. And I don't think anyone is sad that it closed without a proper announcement. This thing was, and funny enough, I actually knew that Time Warp was going to be closing well before they even announced it. Um, because I had a friend who actually works at Canada's Wonderland tell me that Time Warp's long-term maintenance had been canceled. And when that happens, that means the park has no desire to do any long-term work on the ride. So, yeah, that was pretty obvious that Time Warp was going to be leaving. Um, After that, we have the Kid Flash coasters. I mean, these Skyline attractions, again, the folks there seem like really nice people, but they just can't make a reliable ride to save their lives. And Six Flags, Fiesta Texas, and Over Georgia deserve so much better. So I am not surprised at all that Cedar Fair just said, I don't even want to deal with this. So those are all the ones I think that everyone's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Now let's talk about the ones that are a bit more controversial, starting with Anaconda at King's Dominion. And I'd say out of all the ride closures that have been in the chain, this one I think makes the least sense personally. Anaconda, like, yes, the manufacturer doesn't exist anymore, and yes, Anaconda isn't very popular, but I would be shocked if this ride couldn't last another season. I mean, and there was certainly no reason why it didn't get a proper send off. I mean, I get if they wanted to remove it immediately, but it's like they should have said something about it because air loopers are reliable. They can last until their final day of operation. Like these things are built to last. I rarely see Viper or Demon or any other air looper go down that much for that matter. Like it very rarely happens. So for them to, so I feel like this one definitely deserved a proper send off. But I mean, at the end of the day, Anaconda I've heard isn't the best air looper, and it was very unpopular at California at King's Dominion. So it's not the worst loss in the world, but it definitely still stings a little bit. Moving on to my former home park, actually, Six Flags Magic Mountain for Superman Escape from Krypton. This was the most recent one. This is something I've actually been calling for quite a while now. And unfortunately, even though I love Superman and I think it's a very underrated roller coaster, I totally understand why they made pulled the plug on it. I mean, even though I love Superman, I never really rode it that much because it was either closed or it had a ridiculously long line and I just didn't feel like riding it. Plus on top of that, you have to climb all the way to the top of Samurai Summit, which the Helpful Honda Express wasn't always open, so the hike up there was just miserable. On top of that, it's far and away away from everything. So unless I wanted to ride like Ninja or something, then um there was just no reason to head up there. Like its location of the park was just awful. So I mean, hey, the riding had been on the wall for it. It was rarely open. Its capacity sucked, and it was old. I mean, the ride's 28 years old now. So, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but Superman, the riding, it definitely made sense for why they removed it. Um, if they go for X2, then I'll be like, okay, what? But thankfully, it hasn't come to that yet, and hopefully, it never will come to that. Six Flags, don't you dare anger me. Okay, so now the final two. Starting with Green Lantern, the B&M stand-up coaster. Now, I'm someone who loves Riddler's Revenge at Magic Mountain. That is one of my favorite B&Ms ever, even still, and I've ridden a lot of really good ones. Um, and Green Lantern was actually the one I was really looking forward to on my Great Adventure trip, more so than Nitro, to be perfectly honest. I was pumped for Green Lantern. And this was going to be the year I would finally visit Great Adventure to ride that, Kingda Ka, and El Toro. And sure enough, Green Lantern just closed randomly, which again, this is like Anaconda. There was no excuse for why this didn't get a proper send off. Like they could have at least said, "Hey, come get your last rides. Green Lantern's closing." I would have gone to Great Adventure in a heartbeat if I knew this was going to be the last season for it. I would have flown out there in November and gotten my last rides on both Green Lantern and Kingda Ka. But we'll talk about Kingda Ka in a minute. I mostly want to focus on Green Lantern. But I mean, even though I personally am not happy that they made the decision to close it, I do get it. Unfortunately does make sense. It's a very old B&M, 27 years old, and on top of that, it's a stand-up coaster. From what I heard, it really wasn't that popular. A lot of guests thought and enthusiasts thought it was uncomfortable and rough, which I mean, Riddler's also like that, so I do get it. It unfortunately does make sense to get rid of Green Lantern. Even though I thought it looked great, again, I never got to ride it. I mean, I loved Rougarou at Cedar Point, which again, we'll get to that one eventually when I do talk about Cedar Point, which now that I've been to that park, I can talk about it. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense why it was torn down and not relocated. I would have loved to have seen it gone to Six Flags St. Louis. I think it would have been a perfect fit for that park, especially if they replaced like Ninja or Boomerang. But it is what it is. Like, it's just life. You can't ride them all. But of course, we can't talk about Green Lantern without talking about Kingda Ka. Oh boy, this is the big one that everyone has been talking about and are still talking about to this day. So, Kingda Ka. Um, I gotta be honest, I was one of the people that did not believe in the rumors originally. To me, it just sounded insane that Six Flags would be willing to remove 6 rides in one off season because they were talking about Twister, Green Lantern, Parachutes, Kingda Ka, Zumanjaro, Cyborg, Skyride, which is like 7. So 7 rides getting removed in one off season. That just seems insane to me. And I didn't believe it. And on top of that, they talked about completely demolishing Kingda Ka, which sounded like an incredibly just difficult task. But unfortunately, it did come to happen. Kingda Ka is no more. It was blown up a few months ago. I remember waking up and seeing the video of the tower getting knocked down, which I gotta say, that was a very, as sad as it was a cool video to see. It was very cool to see Kingda Ka come crashing down because I, what can I say? I like seeing things get destroyed. But with that being said, what the heck? The world's tallest roller coaster is officially no more. Like, it's just, even still, I'm having a hard time processing it. And seeing Great Adventure now without Ka is just wow. And I've never even been to the damn park, so I wouldn't know. Now, since obviously I'm going to Kings Island this year, I canceled my trip to Great Adventure because why even bother? I'm gonna wait until El Tour. I'm just gonna wait until whatever replaces Ka opens up, and then I'll make the trip out there eventually. Well, actually, no, I want to go to Epic Universe first, but that's besides the point. I get why it had to be done. I completely understand why Kingda Ka needed to go. It's the same reason as Superman. It was down more than it was open, very expensive to maintain, and on top of that, with a park that desperately needs to change its image completely, because Great Adventure's attendance had been getting destroyed as of late because they just hadn't been adding that many new rides. Like their last ride was Jersey Devil back in 2021, and that was delayed from 2020. So it's not, and I hate to say it, replacing adding that ride isn't really going to change the way you experience Great Adventure forever, which is what Richard Zimmerman wants. Because Great Adventure is a park with a lot of potential, and the way it's run right now, something needs to change. But instead of the world's tallest coaster being there, it's some new record breaking launch coaster, which sounds like it's going to be that 400-foot mock extreme spinner, which I'm sorry, that thing looks awesome. I really, really want to see that come to fruition if it happens. Because as someone who loves Time Traveler, I think that would just be an amazing, amazing fit for that park. Like, it would be so nice to see get built. That would change the way you experience Great Adventure forever. Having one landmark just be erased and have a new one come up on top of all these new and awesome rides potentially coming in to fill in the void of everything that left. Their Great Adventure has a really bright future. And unfortunately, I think Kingda Ka was kind of holding them back because when you have a ride that's that expensive, that's that difficult to maintain, obviously, yeah, it's like get rid of it if it's not bringing in any money. Because apparently its ridership was I heard its ridership was pretty good overall, but not enough to justify that big of a price tag. When it comes to X2, that ride's expensive to maintain, but it gets the ridership. People love X2. Whereas with Kingda Ka, yes, it gets some ridership, but for that expensive of a price tag, and on top of the coaster just being a liability because of the top thrill dragster accident, yeah, it unfortunately makes sense to get rid of it. They should have said something. They should have said something because it is borderline inexcusable that they just didn't say anything about it. And I mean, I sort of get it. Like, cause unreliable. It might not even make it to its last day, but I would have liked to at least seen them try. Thankfully, with the announcement that Six Flags America is going to be closing its doors permanently, it does seem like Six Flags is going to start making announcements about what's going to be potentially leaving and giving people a chance to say goodbye, which I think is nice that they're finally doing that. But they should have done this from the beginning. I'm glad they're learning their lesson now, and I trust Richard Zimmerman, unlike some people. He does seem like he's know what he's doing. I mean, he's able to run the Cedar Fair parks amazingly. He makes some really good decisions and he knows what he's doing. So I trust him. But the removal of King Ka will always be remembered. Even though I'm personally more understanding and more forgiving about removing King Ka, there's people that are not. And you're going to have to make up to it, Richard Zimmerman. But either way, that's what I think about King Ka. Um, Overall, I do have high hopes for the Six Flags chain. After my visit to Six Flags St. Louis, have really high hopes that the parks are going to change for the better. Um, I just hope that we get more transparency. Even if they do close Mr. Freeze, even if they do close X2, I want transparency. And I think a lot of other people do. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this whole thing of everything that's going on with the Six Flags parks. Do you guys are you guys happy with the merger? Are you guys angry about the merger? Which I mean, and what do you guys like and don't like about it? Just let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later. Again, I apologize for the unscripted video. I just wanted to get this out after the news that Six Flags America dropped, and I just didn't have time to like write a script and do a ton of editing. But the next video I make, which is the Six Flags St. Louis ranking, will be edited and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Twisted Coaster fan, out.